And welcome. Thanks for joining me again for another session together. I'm especially excited because finally starting to feel like I'm in my new home, and like I said last time, my new guest over here watching over the mat. I'm hoping that the setup is a little bit better for you. And if at any time you can't see, go ahead and give a wave. But we're going to start out today in a child's pose. Ideally, it would be a supported child's pose. So if you have a pillow or a bolster, something of that sort, go ahead and grab it. I'm going to use this pillow right here. We're going to have a wide-legged child's pose. So that means that my knees are out towards the edges of my practice space or mat, and my toes are touching. I'm going to bring whatever piece of support that I have right in towards that sacred space. And then I'm going to allow myself, my belly and my ribs and my chest, and then eventually my forehead, to settle into the support that I have in front of me here. Just bringing the earth up to meet you so that we can start with a little bit of a breath awareness practice. And you're not nearly as strained as you might be coming into a child's pose. So just allow yourself to feel the breath as it comes over the body. Inhaling with the expansion around the belly. And maybe you're able to feel the back body expand a little bit more here. This position might allow for some of that movement on the back body to increase. And then on the exhale, I want you to channel that energy and your thoughts down into your hips and your pelvis. Really working to stabilize them and have them sit down as far as they can on that little support that your ankles and inner arches provide for them. Just allowing that breath to enter in through the nostrils. Imagine it filling up the sinus cavities, traveling down throughout the trachea and inflating those lungs like a balloon. And then on your exhale, imagine them collecting up all of the energy and those particles that they're expelling out. The breath is a physical as well as a chemical cleansant. And physically, it allows us to exhale out maybe some of those particles that are trapped in your nose or in your mouth. And then, of course, it's also bringing out with it the carbon dioxide that we no longer need as a part of our respiration cycle. Just continuing to feel that breath in your body today. If at any point you need to incorporate a little bit more movement into your child's pose, I invite you to do that. Maybe you shift side to side. Maybe you're rocking your forehead across the mat, starting to warm up the neck. Or maybe you're inching those little ant-tinted fingers forward to engage throughout the armpit, the upper back, and in through the arm muscles. And if any of that chatter about movement just doesn't work for you today, that's totally fine as well. Just come into this point of stillness. This pose is quite restorative, that you're intentionally shutting out all of the lights and maybe the commotion and the disarray that could be, in your physical or mental space. And let's start to work to breathe together. So let's inhale for a count of 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Continuing like that, inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. I'm not going to keep counting for you, but go ahead at that same pattern. And let's take 2 more breaths together. Inhaling for 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 3, 2, 1. And last one like this for 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 3, 2, 1. On your next inhale, go ahead and start to bring your hands back to your knees, pressing up, slowly rising. And then if you had that prop in between your legs, go ahead and move it to the top of your mat, bringing your knees together. I'm going to face you. And we're going to find our way into Sukhasana. So easy seat, a cross-legged position. And we're just going to reconnect and allow our body to reorient from that downward position to, you know, a more gravitationally comfortable position. And I just want you to place your hands right at the intersection, that lower part of your ribs, almost if you were going to find that natural waist. And then just come up a little bit. So about half of your fingers are on your ribs and the other half, the lower half, are down on your belly. And if it's available for you, go ahead and close your eyes once again, or keep a soft gaze out in front of your practice space. And then just feel the inhales and the exhales here. No need to, you know, force the arms into any different direction, or just feeling really how much space we can create for ourselves. Not only is that breath filling up through the front body, but you're feeling it expand outwards. And then maybe your thumbs have wrapped around to the back body, and you're feeling that expansion in the back body as well. And we're going to continue to focus on that side breath throughout this class. So I'm going to invite you to place your hands down on the mat. And on your next inhale, let's bring them up overhead, interlacing the fingers, releasing the pointers, and just stretch a little side to side. Just starting to engage throughout the abdominals, as well as those intercostal muscles. And then your next inhale, go ahead and expand, stretching upwards, nice and tall. And then exhale as you release your left hand down to the mat. The right hand is going to slowly come out and over. And then, just like we had done with our hands, imagine your hands are on that upper right side body. Focus and channel that breath into that space, creating that expansion throughout the ribs. And just like the breath comes in many dimensions in our upright position, it's doing the same here. It's going to the front and back, and then it's also traveling along these entire ribs. So sending that breath on the exhale down into the hip, and then allowing the inhale to fill up, expand expanding outwards. And then on your next inhale, allow both hands to come up overhead, interlacing the fingers, but releasing the pointers like we did before. And then go ahead and give yourself those tiny little movements side to side. I'm pointing my fingers between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Tiny movements here. And then on your next inhale, once again, stacking the spine, lengthening upwards. And then exhale, bring that right hand down to the mat this time, keeping a micro bend in that elbow, and then allowing that left hand to create that rainbow, that arch over to the right side. And then explore how it feels in your neck. Maybe you're looking down at your hand. Maybe you're gazing up to the sky. All the while, I'm starting to notice that my left leg is starting to creep up towards my midline. Consciously take a note of where your body is, making sure to continue to breathe, and then send that exhaling force down into that left hip. On your next inhale, bringing both hands up overhead, stacking the spine, and exhale as you release them down to the mat. Let's switch the crossing of our legs. So take that awkward position that we don't naturally come into, and then just allow yourself maybe to reposition the skin, the muscles underneath your booty, and settle into this space. And we're gonna start with some seated cat-cows. So our hands are out on our knees, and we're gonna inhale as we tuck our chin, creating that nice curvature in our back body. I'll turn this way so you can see a little bit better. And I'm bringing my shoulders up towards my ears, really expanding, flaring out the back body and ribs. And then as you come to your next exhale, really work to open through the chest. There's a big space, maybe a volleyball could fit in between my chin and my chest. And then I'm creating a little bit of an arch in my back body this time. And then on your next inhale, tucking the chin, curling into the back body. For me, it feels good to give a little wiggle in this space. And then as you inhale, you exhale, you're expanding outwards, increasing the distance between your clavicles. And then continue at a pace that feels right in your body. With your inhale, you're tucking your chin. If that additional movement felt good for you, go ahead and do that. Starting to open throughout the chest, the top of the back, the shoulders, and then of course the neck. Couple more like that. And then the next time you finish your round, go ahead and stack your spine up in a neutral position. And we're gonna inhale our arms up overhead, and then exhale this time as we take our left ear to our left shoulder. Our left hand is going to help encourage that connection with the ear and the shoulder. My right hand is grounding down on the earth. Just feeling that stretch all along the right side of the neck. And then if it's okay for you today, you can investigate how it feels to lower and lift the right arm. How does that adjust the position of the stretch that you might feel in your neck muscles? And those muscles go way up into the back of our skull, and then they continue down, wrapping into the lower parts around our butt. So lots of room in there to investigate. And then on your next inhale, allow your hands to come both down onto the mat and you release, coming into a neutral position. On your next inhale, once again, let's stretch up nice and tall. And then exhale, this time taking the right ear towards the right shoulder, allowing that right hand just to guide and provide a little bit more structure to the stretch on the left side of the neck here. Ensuring that your spine is nice and tall. You're not sinking back, but you're supporting your lower back by engaging through your abs. And then inhaling and exhaling. And then let's do that same arm movement, lower and lift investigation on this side. Just feel maybe the traveling stretch. For me, it kind of comes down into the tops of my shoulder, almost on my bra line. And then it comes back up into the side of the neck. And then your next inhale, go ahead and release your hands down, sitting nice and tall. And then you exhale, press into a tabletop position so that we can start to warm up throughout the legs. I'm going to encourage you to step back with the right foot and then rock forward and back on those toes so that you can start to send blood into the lower half of the body. Maybe you lift it up and give it a little shake if that feels right today. And then on your next inhale, come back to a neutral position with your hands. And then on your exhale, lift that back leg up so that your toe is pointing down. And you're in a half bird dog position here. On your next inhale, bring that left hand out in front of you, thumb facing up. And then exhale as you curl, bringing your knee and your nose together. And then inhale as you stretch out. Exhale, once again, curling the nose and the knee together. Continuing with that pace that works for you. Feeling that release maybe in the lower back. Or feeling that stretch along the side of the arm and through the calf muscles. And the next time you bring your arms out and your legs back, go ahead and take a balance here. Inhaling and exhaling, finding that strength, and imagine as if there's strings attached to the opposite sides of your bodies, pulling you, helping to straighten, tighten. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and lower down onto all fours. We'll take that same motion on the other side. So bringing the left foot back, rocking back and forth, invigorating and starting to stretch out through the back of the calf muscle, the hamstrings, and of course the ankles and the toes. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and come forward into a stable position with your hands. Exhaling, lift that left leg up with the toe pointing down to the ground. Find your point of stability here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lift that right hand up. Your thumb is facing the sky. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and bring the knee and the nose together with a curl. And then exhale, extending out, thumb up and toe down. Inhale as you crunch in, feeling that stretch in the back body. And then exhale, expanding out, thumb up, toe down. Continuing with that pace, making sure that you're keeping a nice strong core here. That way your lower back isn't doing all the work. A couple more like this. And then one more inhale. And then bring the hand and the leg out, coming to a point of balance. For me, I'm focusing on a point on the mat right below where my eyes are. It's helping me to stabilize. And then lower down onto all fours. Pressing back into our traditional child's pose. So my knees are together. My forehead is resting on the mat. And just take a couple breaths here. On your next inhale, go ahead and slowly start to roll up. Shoulders coming up to your ears, and then on your exhale, dropping them down and back. Let's add in some wrist rolls, and we'll continue with those shoulder shrugs. Inhale, bringing them up, and then exhale as you drop them down and back. Inhale, up to my ears. Exhale, dropping them down and back. One more like that. Nice job. And then at this point, come back into our tabletop position. I want you to tuck your toes and then start to press away from the earth so that you can hover your knees a couple inches, maybe 1 inch, 2 inches at the most, up off of the mat. I'm nice and strong throughout my abs, my lower back, engaging throughout my booty, and then lower down, releasing into our child's pose once again. This time, let's make it an active child's pose. So my fingers are reaching towards the front of the mat. I always envision them as little, soldier ants marching forward. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and march your hands over to the right side, stacking them on top of each other, feeling that stretch along the left side of the body. Taking a couple breaths over here. And then on your next inhale, bringing those soldier ants back to center. And then exhale, marching them over to the left side. Feeling the stretch on the right side of the body, grounding down through the hip, but then lengthening throughout the entire side body. Continuing to breathe here. And then on your next inhale, bringing those hands back to the center, coming into our tabletop position once again. Let's tuck our toes and then pressing away from the earth, allowing the knees to rise up, hovering in this position here. And then slowly starting to lift the hips, pressing up into our first downward facing dog. So making sure that you allow yourself a nice bend in your knees. You're pulsing throughout each of the heels, almost like some people call it walking your dog. So that way you can Start to really stretch out through the entire back leg, pressing away from the earth with your hands, and then coming to a point of stillness. Just sending breath into the body. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and once again, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. On the next inhale, rock forward, coming into your high plank pose, and then lowering down onto your knees, your chest, and then slowly coming down completely onto the mat. We're going to come into a low cobra. So our big toes are together, pointed down to the earth. My hands are around nipple line, and I'm gonna inhale as I engage my abs, pressing away from the earth. My elbows, as you can see, should be tucked in nice and tight. Maybe you try to lift your hands, see if you can hold your body up, and then lower down, allowing your forehead to rest on the mat or make a pillow out of your hand, shaking throughout the hips, just a little bit here. Connecting with the breath. Let's do that one more time. So place your hands down about the nipple line, toes are together, and nose is on the mat. Inhale as we rise up, engaging throughout the abs. Continuing to breathe as we're holding upwards in this cobra position. One more inhale, and then exhale as we lower down to the earth. Maybe you bring one leg up, kicking into the hamstrings. Have a nice flex in your foot. This will stretch out both the front and the back of the leg in this instance because our feet are flexed. And then give it a try with a pointed toes. You should be able to feel a little difference in where that stretch hits in the body. And then lowering your legs down, having your hands come back to that nipple line and tucking your toes. On your inhale, press up, coming into your plank pose and allowing yourself to build some strength here. Breathing as you're holding yourself up, engaging your abs, really sending the energy line throughout the heels, pressing away from the earth. Let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, lower down onto your knees, and then into your child's pose. From here, we're gonna move into a position that's called rabbit. I don't know that I've taught this in this class before, so you might wanna take a look up. We're gonna stay with our lower body in our child's pose, but I'm gonna take my hands and I'm going to grab the heels of my feet behind me. And then I'm gonna start to slowly lift my hips and booty up to the sky, but I'm making contact with my forehead, and then eventually the top of my head is still resting down on the earth. There's an equal pull between my hands and my heels, and that pull there allows some of the weight to be distributed so that it's not all like my head and my neck being forced down into the mat, and you should be able to feel a nice stretch throughout the back body. So I'm gonna lower back down, and then let's do that together. So bring your hands back alongside your heels, grasp on to the heels or maybe in through the arches of your feet, and then allow yourself on the inhale to press up, lifting throughout the hips, sending the booty to the sky. And in this process, your head should almost automatically roll a little bit. And so once again, taking note not to have too much pressure
on the top of the head, compounding down through the neck. And that's what really gripping throughout the heel of the body will do. And then continuing to breathe, and in this position, it might feel discomfortable, you know, for some, but notice how the expansion of the breath can really fill in the back body, and you can feel it in the side body as well. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Last one. And then as you exhale, lower down, allowing your hands to come out to the side, or maybe you bring them back out in front into a traditional child's pose. And then on your next inhale, coming up into our tabletop position, scooting our knees back, and then slowly lowering our belly down onto the mat. We're gonna come into our reverse thread the needle or scorpion pose. So take that right hand out at a capital letter T, and then your left hand is gonna help you turn onto that right side of the body. My left foot comes behind my leg and acts as a kickstand, as the same with my left hand. My forehead and side of my cheek of my right side are pressed down into the earth. And I'm sending breath both into my shoulder joint, my chest, and then for me, I feel it a little bit in my lower back in this position. There's a slight bit of a twist coming into play. Maybe you feel that as well. Continuing with your inhale and your exhale pattern. And then on your next inhale, slowly make your way back onto your belly, bringing that right hand alongside the body, giving it a little shake. And then allowing yourself to stretch out that left hand to a capital letter T. My right hand is helping to roll my body back. My right, oh, I'm running into the wall here. My right foot comes back as a kickstand, and my right arm acts in that similar way. And as you can see, my forehead on the left side is pressed down into the earth. Noticing how your breath may have changed a pattern. Is it shorter? Is it shallower? Or are you able to sink into this pose and expand and extend the inhale and exhale? Can you feel that breath on the side body, that left side, especially as it's, you know, connecting with the earth? And then on your next inhale, allow your body to rock back onto the belly. And then slowly allow yourself to press up through a child's pose. And then rising up, lifting yourself up, coming to support yourself on your shins here. Like we've done in the past, we're going to do our sun salutations a little bit more modified in this position. If you need a mat for your knees, go ahead and place it, a blanket, a mat, right in front of your space here.
So bringing our hands to heart center, focusing on a point about, 2 feet in front of your mat. Taking a couple of breaths here. Feeling the balance that's in your body today. Maybe it's unbalanced, and that's okay too. On our next inhale, let's bring our hands up overhead, and then exhale as we fold down in front, coming into our child's pose, taking a breath here. On our next inhale, press up into our tabletop position, and then exhale as we come back down into our child's pose. On your next inhale, slowly start to drag your fingertips towards your knees, lifting up, coming onto our shins. Shoulders are rising up to our ears. Exhale as we drop them back, our hands face forward. Inhale, bringing our hands up overhead, looking up. And then exhale as we fold forward, allowing ourselves to come into that restorative child's pose. Inhale as we rise, finding our tabletop position. And then exhale, sinking back and down, lowering into our child's pose. On our next inhale, dragging our hands back towards our knees, starting to rise up. Shoulders to ears, dropping them down and back, hands facing forward. Couple more like that. Inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, allowing ourselves to find our child's pose. Inhale as you rise into our tabletop. And at this position, we're going to inhale, bring our right hand up to the sky in this tabletop position. And then exhale, I want you to imagine that you're turning and twisting a light bulb in. So you see my hand and my ankle are kind of doing a little flick up above my head. And then I want you to have the palm of your hand facing the back of the body. And then allow your arm to wrap around the body. Maybe you can see my hand, it's coming right here underneath. And so I'm lifting my chest up to the sky, leading that nice twist and opening throughout the clavicles. Breathing here. If you want to add a little bit more of a stretch, go ahead and take that left foot back. I'm up on my toes, but I have a micro bend in my left elbow still. And then your next inhale, if you took that left foot back, go ahead and release it down. Inhale as you bring your right hand up to the sky. Exhale as you lower it down into our tabletop position. Exhale as we sink into our child's pose. And then inhale, rising into our tabletop position. The next time you inhale, bring that left hand up to the sky and do that same motion as if you were screwing in a light bulb, starting to shake out through the wrist. And then take that palm of the hand facing the back body and allowing your elbow to fold, wrapping around the back of the body. This time you'll be able to see where my hand hits. It's in that crease of my right hip. Making sure you have that micro bend in the right elbow. If you'd like a little bit more balanced challenge, go ahead and step that right foot back. So I'm up on my tippy toes of my straight right leg. I'm facing down towards the earth. And then your next inhale, go ahead and lift the left shoulder to the sky, starting to expand throughout the front body, feeling that increased stretch along this side. Sending breath into any points of tension. And then on your next inhale, allowing your gaze to come back to the mat, bringing that right knee in towards the earth. And then inhale as you bring the left hand up overhead. Exhale, coming back into our tabletop position. And then inhale, just tucking your chin, coming into a cow pose to release the back. And then exhale as you lower, coming into our child's pose. Inhale as you drag your hands towards your knees, lifting up, shoulders to ears, and exhale, dropping them down and back, palms facing forward. Once more like that. Inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Exhale as we come down, lowering into our child's pose. Inhale, rising into our tabletop position. Exhale, lowering down into our child's pose. And then inhale, dragging your fingertips along towards your knees, lifting up, shoulders coming to ears. Exhale as you drop them down and back, hands facing forward. Bring our hands to our heart center at this point. Finding that initial drishti point, that one spot that might be a couple feet out in front of your mat. Just reconnecting with the breath. And then go ahead and allow yourself to sit back onto your booty. I'm going to come over here so I can, oh, my lights on my computer went away. Let me see that I can see you. Okay, great. And then allow yourself to sit down on your booty. Your legs are out in front of you, giving them a little bit of a bounce. And then bringing our feet down onto the earth, scooting our booty in a little bit closer, and then allowing your hands to support behind you. Your fingertips are facing in towards your butt. I'm expanding throughout my chest, drawing my shoulder blades together. And then start to lift up on one of your legs. I've chosen my left leg. Engaging throughout the core, taking a couple breaths here, and then lowering that leg down. Inhaling as I lift the other leg. This one's my right one. Engaging throughout the belly. You might feel some shaking, shivering, and then lowering down. Let's do that twice more on each leg. So inhale as I lift my left one up. Once again, I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, opening throughout my chest, and then lowering down. Right side. Inhaling, exhaling, engaging throughout your abs and lowering down. Last time on each side, left comes up, readjusting, engaging throughout the core, supporting the lower back and lowering down. Last one here. Definitely feel myself shaking on this one and lowering down. Let's have those legs come out in front once again, flexing in the feet and giving them a little bounce. Bringing the soles of our feet together and bringing them in a little bit closer towards that sacred space. My hands are wrapping around the outside pinky toe side of my foot. And I'm inhaling as once again, I'm expanding throughout my chest, chin is lifted. And then exhale as I start to lower forward. I keep a nice flat back until I can't go any further. Then I drop my head down. Allowing yourself to breathe in this space. Feeling that openness that you're creating within your hips and inner thighs.
On your next inhale, releasing your hands, taking them to the outside of the knees, bringing your legs in together, and releasing the right one down in front of you while you shimmy that left heel into that sacred space. My right foot is flexed facing upwards. I'm inhaling as I am facing the front of the mat, and then exhale as I'm lowering forward. My knee on the right leg is bent so that I can make sure there's not too much of a strain on my hamstrings. And I'm able to grasp my foot, but maybe some of you reach the ankle, some of you reach the calf. And then just starting to envision connecting your knee and your forehead. Maybe one day they'll meet, maybe one day they won't. And just like we had been taking notice of the breath in the back and also the side body, I challenge you to think about where that breath is hitting, where you can feel that stretch. For me, I feel a lot on my left side body. I'm not sure about you. Continuing to inhale and exhale. And then on the next inhale, slowly walking your hands back, allowing your spine to lift, your neck to stack. And then bringing that right foot in to meet your left, coming back into our cobbler's pose. And just like we did before, grabbing the outside pinky toe edge of our foot, inhaling as we stack our spine nice and tall. And then exhale as we lean forward. Maybe our elbows rest on the inner thighs. Maybe they come out in front. And then once you've reached that point of resistance, go ahead and drop your head down. Feeling the weight of the head releasing and helping to stretch out throughout the back body. Taking notice if your shoulders came up towards your ears, can you somehow drop them down while also making space for your neck and having that maybe, I don't know, grapefruit shape space between your ears and your shoulders. Sending that breath into the inner thighs. Maybe you feel this throughout the lower back. Maybe you feel this in your knees and your neck. Just investigating, allowing that breath to expand and then filling the body. On your next inhale, go ahead and slowly roll up, bringing your knees together. This time, releasing the left leg out in front while bringing the right heel into that sacred space. My left foot is flexed out straight. I'm going to inhale, face forward, and then start to lower down over top of my left leg. Just like on the other side, I have a micro bend in my knee, and I'm grabbing onto whatever point along my leg I can reach. If that's my calf, if that's my ankle, maybe you're able to reach your toes or wrap your fingers around your foot. And then with every breath, specifically with every exhale, imagine yourself straightening that leg a little bit more and working to bring that forehead and knee together. And then for the next couple breaths here, just feel the breath as it comes into the side right body, the entire back body. And on your inhale, go ahead and start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Head, neck, and shoulders last to stack up. Bringing both legs out in front of you, and then allowing the knees to come up to the earth and slowly rolling back onto the earth here. And then bringing one knee in towards the chest, rolling side to side. This is my left leg. And then I'm going to take my left knee out to the side as if I am circumventing my entire rib cage and working to bring that left knee into my left elbow. Maybe someday my left armpit. Opening out throughout the front of this hip. And then taking notice if your right hip has started to come up off of the mat. Encourage it to stay grounded with your right hand. Sending breath into that compression space on the left hip. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and release that left leg back down onto the earth, giving your hips a bit of a shake. And then the next inhale, bring that opposite leg, that knee, for me it's the right one, into the chest, rocking it side to side. And then taking the knee out around the right side of the ribs, and then hugging it in with that right elbow, almost as if it's like a little bit of a hook on the outside of your knee. Encouraging that right knee into right armpit, while also making sure that left hip stays grounded with the left hand. Breathing here. And then on your next inhale, releasing that foot down onto the earth with the other one. We're going to come up into a bridge pose. So positioning your feet on the earth, our hands alongside our body. And then on your next inhale, sending the hips up nice and tall, pressing away from the earth with your heels, and making sure that you keep your neck looking up directly at your ceiling or the sky. No need to look around. This is a point of potential caution. You don't want to injure your neck. Squeezing throughout the booty, the backs of the legs, and then working to bring your knees and inner thighs together. Holding here for a couple more breaths. And then slowly lowering down into the earth, knees into the chest, releasing and rocking side to side. We'll do that once more. So plant your feet down onto the earth. And then as you inhale, press away, sending the hips high. Maybe you interlace your fingers underneath your booty this time, rocking up onto the shoulder blades. Once again, keeping the neck nice and straight, facing the ceiling, engaging throughout the strong gluteus maximus muscles, that's your butt, and your inner thighs. Breathing here. And then releasing your hands, starting to lower down to the earth, bringing your knees into your chest and rocking side to side, maybe drawing some circles on the ceiling with your knees. And then bringing the knees into the chest and then starting to take them over to the left side, allowing yourself to come into a twist position, working to stabilize that left shoulder down on the mat.
If it feels comfortable for you, you can go ahead and close your eyes at this point in class. We're winding down our time together. This is also a really interesting position to feel the breath in all the different parts of the rib cage, the front, side, and back body. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and bring your knees back to center, rolling them around. And then inhale, bringing them in towards your chest. And then exhaling as you take them over to the right side of the body. Taking a twist on this other side. And just like we did with our other twist, encouraging that shoulder, this time it's the left shoulder, to stay grounded down into the earth. Feeling the breath as it fills the front, the back, and then of course the side body, which is nice and open and exposed here. On your next inhale, allow your knees to come back into center, placing the soles of the feet down onto the earth, and then slowly allowing them to straighten in front of you. Coming into our Shavasana, our hands are taking up whatever space they need to our side, palms are facing upwards. And let's inhale through our nose together, exhaling through our mouth. Let's inhale now. Exhale through the mouth. Once more, nice strong inhale through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. Rest here. And you can stay in this position because you'll know that I'm watching over the time and the space. One less thing for you to worry about. Letting go of any final points of tension. Maybe they found their way into your jaw or your shoulders. Just working to release them. And then starting to slowly increase the length of the inhales and the exhales. Sending movement into your fingers and your wrists, your toes and your ankles. And then if you'd like, feel free to keep your eyes closed as you roll over onto the right side of your body, coming into a fetal position. Pressing down into the earth with the top left hand, rising up, slowly stacking the spine as you come into a comfortable seated position. And then bringing your hands to heart center, feeling that breath once again, expanding throughout the rib cage, nourishing the body. And then if you'd like to join me for a call to Om, let's inhale together. Bring your hands up to that third eye, that place between the eyebrows, and bowing forward, sealing our time together. Rising up. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the practice, and I will see you next time. Have a great evening. Bye, everyone.